So we took the boat out a couple days ago. Got to test out the new sun deck there. It worked out great. It was a beautiful day. We all ended up going swimming and climbing all over the back there, and really happy with the way that came out. And so now I'm working on figuring out what the next step is, and I think it's going to be this back seat bottom. Because every time we come into the boat, the easiest way in is up the swim deck, over top of the engine, and you step right on there and you can see the vinyl is just tearing apart, falling apart, and the foam underneath is day by day getting worse and worse. And this foam is like really soft. So you sit down, you just blow right through it. Same thing when you step on it, you just crush it. So I actually have some foam that's left over from my other boat, my sailboat, from years ago. I had all new cushions made for that. I did not do the upholstery myself, but I had a bunch of leftover foam because I bought the foam and cut it into shape myself. Had somebody else do the upholstery, but I think I actually have enough left over to do the bottom of that seat and the bottoms of both of these front seats. And then around the back and sides, I'm hoping that I can just reuse the old foam. But yeah, I'm going to take that out of there and start taking it apart. And we're planning on taking the boat out again this weekend, so I'm hoping that I can knock out that seat cushion in the next couple days. So let's see how it goes. Back to the patio. Got our cushion out. I started looking at it. It's just a piece of plywood on the bottom, but oh man, all these little tiny staples are sure going to be a pain to get out of there. But anyway, I'm going to start with the foam. This is that leftover foam I had. And I don't know if you can hear it. My canopy's flapping away. We finally got a breeze around here. Feels pretty nice. But unfortunately, I don't have one piece of foam that's big enough for the entire seat, so I'm going to glue both of these together. I just got some, what was it, Super 77. So I'm going to glue the two edges together. Foam usually glues together pretty nicely, and once it's all covered, nobody will ever know. But I'm going to glue that up, and I'm going to start taking apart the old one and getting all the new pieces made. I got our sheet of foam drying up there. It's all glued together. It's actually bonded together pretty well already. It's only been a couple minutes. I also started ripping the old cover off our seat cushion. So this is all done, but I want to show you one thing. The way they did this originally, these are actually upholstered as two separate pieces. So the fabric wrapped around and they stapled all down in this crack. Well, it's just this big valley that's, I pulled it apart and it's just full of dirt and trash and really pretty gross in there. So one of the things I'd like to do when I do the new cover, I'm still going to do two separate pieces of foam so we can get the taller knee bolster in there. But I'm gonna do the cover a little bit differently, where there'll be a seam here, but it'll be sewn together, so we won't have this big valley to just catch stuff and turn into a trash receptacle. Well, that was a bit more work than I was hoping for, but I got the seat bottom plywood all cleaned up. You can see down the center that row, all the old staples, that's in that valley that was in between the cushions. And when they built this thing, they're using these really narrow, fat staples that were just really difficult to try and get out. But since the fabric was so destroyed, I just ripped all the fabric off and left the staples behind. And then all the ones that were sticking up, I took a flap wheel on my grinder, I just smoothed them down. So I think I'm just going to leave them there. Before I upholster this, I think I'm actually going to paint this piece of wood to preserve it a little bit better than just leaving it bare. But first, we've got our piece of foam here. You can see this rectangle I've got here. That's the section that's going to be that knee bolster. So I'm going to move the piece of wood down. I'm going to finish tracing around there, And then, so the knee bolster part and the back section are going to be cut into two different pieces so I can upholster them. In the front knee part, I've actually got some 1-inch foam. I'm gonna add an inch to the front so you get that little knee kick up. Give the seat a little bit more shape and make it a little more comfortable. So I'm gonna trace out the lines on the foam so I know what size to cut it at, and then maybe I'll get a coat of paint on that wood before I go back inside and start working on the fabric. Now I got our foam all cut out, all glued together. Got my turkey carving knife there that's never seen a turkey but seen a lot of foam. So now it's time to start pulling out some fabric and get the covers all figured out. I have now made a giant mess out of my living room, but I have all of my fabric pieces cut. So I've got the front and rear cushions along with the side pieces that will cap the knee bolster on either side. And then the back one, that really long one, is going to wrap all the way around the back. You'll notice there's a seam in the middle there. My roll of material is long enough I could have made that all out of one continuous piece, but I'm trying to use the material as efficiently as possible, and since that's on the back of the seat where it's never going to get seen, I don't mind putting a seam there. And then the piece that's upside down there in the middle, that's the center pull that's going to pull down in between the two foam cushions and get stapled to the wood backer board. So this is looking pretty good for tonight. I think I'm gonna call it good and head to bed. Tomorrow I'll be doing a lot of sewing. Good morning. Now it's time to start sewing. First I'm going to show you how all these things fit together here. So you've got essentially two cushions. This front one, fabric's just going to wrap over the top, down the front, and then this extra flange here gets pulled around the bottom of the board. On this one, we've got these end pieces that'll get sewn on there to kind of cap the end of the cushion. The back section of the cushion is done a little differently. We've got just a top panel and then this boxing strip that wraps all the way around, and it'll get stitched all the way around the perimeter. And then this guy goes in the middle. It's going to get stitched onto here, and also when these two get seamed together, it'll just fit down in between and get stapled to the board and just kind of stabilize the whole assembly there. So I'm going to get started sewing these together, see how well I can do. Well, getting closer. Got the two sections sewn together. Just wanted to kind of show you how it all fits together. Maybe make a little more sense from the last piece. Got our boxing all sewn on there. This is that strip that's just going to get stapled down. And our end pieces on both ends of the knee bolster. So the last step here is just going to be to sew these two together, and then we can start stapling it to the backer and get it all stuffed in there and good to go. We're back outside on the hot tub again. So we got our seat bottom board there. I went ahead and just shot it with some black spray paint. I don't know if that'll make it last longer or not, but made it look a little nicer. I sanded it a little, get some of the funk out of it. You can see I put a chalk line down there, and this is that center rib, the center gusset from our cover there. Obviously the cover is just all crumpled up and doesn't look like anything yet, but just put a couple staples in there. That line as my guide where I'm going to put the staples. Just going to line it up on our chalk line there, staple that all down, then I can start stuffing the foam inside and getting that all situated. Alright, got the cover all stapled on. I am pretty happy with that. There's a couple little things I probably would have changed. This corner, actually both front corners of the wood kind of poke out there. I could have widened out the foam a little bit, widened out the cover just slightly. Or I also could have cut that corner back some and rounded it off more. The way it actually fits in the boat, the board kind of wedges underneath the side panels, and the sides have a bit of a inward angle to them that holds the cushion in place. So I'm hoping that'll just kind of wedge the thing in there and lock it in. But not bad for my first try at doing a cushion. I am really happy with that. So I think it's time to put it in the boat. Success! So there you go. Looks like you can learn how to do anything on YouTube. Thank you, internets. Actually, I guess I really need to be thanking Sailrite for their channel, because I couldn't have figured any of this out without watching their videos. I am really happy with how that came out. I'm really looking forward to taking this thing out again this weekend, enjoying this beautiful warm San Diego weather. I think next, do the seat bottoms here and keep working our way around the boat.